Located in the Bay of Plenty, Tauranga is one of New Zealand's fastest growing cities, famous for the beautiful white sand beaches of Mount Maunganui and Matakana. Another feature that sets Tauranga apart is its airport, or more precisely, the location of its airport, which is located less than 3 kilometres away from the downtown area. Over Waitangi Weekend 2010, it became the destination for some of history's most famous aircraft, and over 20,000 people who all came for one reason: to be part of the 2010 Tauranga City Air Show.
Roger, just call when you're inbound to land.
With a warm, dry climate, Tauranga is the perfect place for aviation. The airport is home to flying schools, aero clubs, skydivers, and the Classic Flyers Aviation Museum. Established in 2005 by a group of local businessmen led by Andrew Gormley, Classic Flyers' emphasis was on creating a living, dynamic museum with a high degree of operational activity. The aim was to preserve classic and historic aircraft and to support the retention of New Zealand's aviation history. The 2010 Tauranga City Air Show is part of that vision.
What happened was we had the last Sport AVX Air Show 2 years ago, and it was starting to grow and grow on this airfield, so we decided to amalgamate Sport AVX with Classic Flyers to create a what we'd term a national event. Well, the whole thing has taken a lot of people to get together. We've probably got at least 250 people, support crew, volunteers, many of which are the Tauranga Tapapa Rotary Group, who are supporting all the trade sites and stands out there. So there's quite a crew of support people on the field, all doing it on a volunteer basis. Just to enjoy seeing an air show happen. Today we've got quite a lineup from things like the Corsair, the Mustang, the Spitfire dueling with the ME-108 and the ground troops. A bit later on we've got a race between an Audi R8 and our ground attack jet, the A-37 Dragonfly. And I'm not sure who's going to win that one. We've all got bets on it. One of the best aircraft I enjoyed watching a display the most of is the Corsair. It's a pretty impressive airplane, it makes a lot of noise and goes quick and it's a nice profile. That particular one's an ex-Kiwi Corsair. There's not many of them left on the earth. It's a Kiwi icon.
These are Corsairs, the latest planes now being flown by the RNZAF out of this advanced Pacific base. Carrying heavier firepower, they give our combat pilots a still greater chance of cleaning the nips out of the skies. First used off the decks of aircraft carriers, these planes have already been flown by US pilots in the Pacific. Now New Zealand pilots are taking them over and taking them up against Japan. They get cracking to chase more Zeros, and they won't be left behind when it comes to speed. With these Corsairs, faster than anything they've flown before and more deadly, they can get right after the enemy and keep at him.
Between 1942 and 1949, the RNZAF operated 424 Corsairs, with 60 being of the FG-1D variant, which was the Goodyear-built version. 13 squadrons eventually used the aircraft in a mix of fighter and ground attack roles, although at most only 8 squadrons were operational at one time. The Corsair was the first US warplane to exceed 400 miles per hour, with a top speed of 425 or 369 knots. Under the right circumstances, the wing-mounted air takes caused a pronounced whistling sound, and for that reason, Japanese ground troops called it whistling death. From the first prototype delivery to the US Navy in 1940 to the final delivery in 1953 to the French, 12,571 F4U Corsairs were manufactured by Vought in 16 different models. It remains one of the top fighters of World War II.
This is the most famous Corsair in the world. It's one that flew with the Royal New Zealand Air Force during World War II. So to New Zealanders and so on, it's a pretty precious airplane. This one saw action in the Pacific during the war. It's a beautiful airplane to fly. It's lovely harmonised. It looks a little bit heavy and draggy, but in reality it's a very quick airplane and lovely, lovely controls. I just find it a sheer delight to fly. The Corsair was designed initially as a carrier-based airplane. That's why we have the gull wings here. They wanted a very, very strong undercarriage with a very big engine. So the only way to get the propeller on was to put the wings down a bit lower. It had a kill ratio of around 15:1, so it was very successful because of its manoeuvrability and its speed, but during the latter part of the war it was used as ground attack. I just love flying the Corsair because everyone would really. I've just been very, very lucky that I've been flying the airplane for a long time and the owners asked me to fly it. So I'm very grateful to do so. I hope we can keep it in New Zealand, we can keep displaying it properly for the people. I also have the name of Flying Display Director. My main responsibility really is ensuring that the display runs smoothly and safely. So we intend to use runway 07, which is much easier for us all. Taxi out to the right, take off, and land back that way and do a bit of a racetrack. It's very unusual this air show that we have scheduled airliners coming and going as well at the same time. It's pretty hard to fit displays in between. And I think it differs a lot from the other air shows we have in New Zealand because we've got a vast variety of aeroplanes. The SAA here this weekend, and they ran a very small show initially, which was wonderful. They had all their home builts and a little air show. Well, now we've combined those right up with the Air Force and the warbirds. So I think it's a wonderful cross-section of aviation for the family.
Hi, my name is Phil Hooker. I live in sunny Tauranga, New Zealand. Behind me is one of the aircraft I'm displaying today at the air show. It's a Cessna A-37 Aerobat, which is one of the world's most popular trainers. As you can see, the registration is Mum, Mike Uniform Mike. The flying school we have, Bayflight International, we have 7 of these aircraft. The registration's Dad, Mum, Kid, Son, Sis, Nan and Pop, so it's a family affair, our little trainers. The flight I'm doing today in Mike Uniform Mike, where I carry out low-level aerobatics and some low-level manoeuvring with a dead stick landing, is dedicated to my mother who passed away 6 months ago. Now the 152 compared to the modern day aerobatics is an underpowered aircraft. It's only 110 horsepower. no inverted fuel or oil system, so when I go light, the engine starts starting. The routine today is starting off with some Cuban 8s, loops, stall turns, avalanches, and low-level wingovers, and then the low-level handling display down the runway. The other aircraft I'm displaying today is the Hughes 500 for the opening of the air show, where we're doing a Vietnam reenactment scene where we have some Viet Cong on the ground. We're flying along, we identify the enemy, we get shot at and we return fire. Then we call in the Mustangs and the heavy artillery to come and bomb them. The next helicopter display is formation with a Piper Cub and the Bell 47 Sioux and the Hughes 500. The other aircraft I'm displaying today is a gyrocopter. The one I'm displaying is a New Zealand designed and built gyrocopter called a kahu, which is the Māori word for our native falcon. The yellow one I'm flying is powered by a rotary engine, the first aircraft in New Zealand to be powered by a rotary engine. great buzz from letting people see what, especially an underpowered aerobatic aeroplane, what they're capable of. So yes, I really enjoy displaying in front of crowds.
Another pilot who enjoys performing in front of crowds made a special appearance. Although as a pilot with the Red Bull Air Race, his aircraft are definitely not underpowered.
I'm Yoshihide Muraya from Japan. I'm flying the Airshow and Red Bull Air Races. It's the first year of the Red Bull Air Race, so we learn a lot. Especially first 4 races, I'm starting a lot. Then the last 2 races, I had a good result. Especially final race, I'm coming to 6th place. So it's almost perfect for the rookie year.
Perfect for his rookie year indeed. And it was a year that had a New Zealand connection. Just like any motorsport, a good pilot needs a great team. And one of Yoshi's key support crew is his team coordinator, who is a long-time friend and a Kiwi.
Well, I'm Robert Fry and I'm from New Zealand, born in Auckland. So I lived in Japan for 33 years, involved in sailing and aerobatics and a bit of a mixture. And amongst that I got involved with Yoshi in Japan, flying air shows. And I've known him for about 12 years now. We've done quite a few air shows together with the Sughois and also with the Air Bandits. When Yoshi got selected for the Red Bull Air Race, he needed a team coordinator and I was available. So since we've worked together in the past, it was made sense that we'd do it again. So I've been team coordinator now for a year and during the first season, and we're just about to start the second season. We've got the race plane in New Zealand over the off-season. We've been doing some modifications to it.
Yeah, just right after the last race in Barcelona, we shipped the plane to Auckland and we just start the modification. It's still going on. Then I have flight training with Sukhoi and Edge race plane, so it's quite good condition for 2010. So we're going to have much better result, we hope.
It's quite exciting. There's a lot of travel around the world here and there. Last year I think I was in Europe 4 times, in the States 4 times during about 8 months, 10 or a little bit more, maybe 10 month period. Well, the challenge for us is to get our plane down to minimum weight. It was a little bit overweight last year, and every 10 kilos overweight you are, it means a second around the race course, even if you've got the same power. So I think we're getting pretty close now, and we're going to have a new engine, which will also hopefully give us about a second and a half around the course. Trouble is everyone else getting the same engine, so it's going to even the field up a fair bit, I would think, this year. It's going to be some close racing, I would think. Yeah, I was here 2 years ago flying this plane. Didn't quite have the same colour scheme then, but yeah, we did a display.
Okay, I'm flying Sukhoi 29. This is special made for aerobatics from Russia. This is a really powerful plane, 36 horsepower and unlimited airplane. So one of the best aerobatic planes in the world. Especially Sukhoi can fly very low speed, very high angle of attack. So you will see planes like stopping in the air and just looping very small. You will see it.
Yoshi wasn't the only skilled pilot performing at the Tauranga City Air Show. Throughout the day, the crowd was treated to a wide range of aerobatic excitement. This particular Harvard lives at RNZAF Base Ohakia as part of the Air Force's historic flight, which has the aim of keeping some of the aircraft flying that the RNZAF has used in the past. Squadron Leader Sean Perrott is the historic flight commander, and for the Tauranga City Air Show, he has brought with him a special guest.
The aircraft behind is a Mark 9 Spitfire. It belongs to Brendan Dare. It's unique to New Zealand at the moment, being the only single-seater in the country. It's painted in the colours of his uncle, who was a Battle of Britain pilot, Al Dare, and it's just a beautiful aircraft to fly.
The Battle of Britain is the name given to the air campaign waged by the German Air Force, or Luftwaffe, against the United Kingdom during the summer and autumn of 1940. It was the first major campaign to be fought entirely by air forces and was the largest and most sustained aerial bombing campaign until that date. The objective of the Luftwaffe campaign was to gain air superiority over the Royal Air Force, especially the RAF Fighter Command, which operated the Hawker Hurricane and Spitfire.
The RAF came, facing odds of 6, 8, 10 to 1, and dove in, shouting the old hunting cry, tally-ho!
Okay, this is the fairly cramped cockpit of the Spitfire Mark 9. As you can see, the visibility isn't great when you look forward. There's a lot of nose in front of you. cockpit itself is very traditional, bit of an ergonomic nightmare, as a lot of British aircraft were, but this isn't too bad. Right, we'll climb on board and have a look. Okay, this is the parachute. It goes over your shoulders. So once you've got the parachute on, you would put the harness on, 4-point harness with a quick release. The cockpit layout is traditional, where you've got the stick in your right hand. A lot of the British aircraft had the spade grip. You've got pneumatic brakes of one lever on the stick itself. If you want to apply left brake, you need to squeeze this lever and apply left rudder. If you want right brake, it's the opposite, you apply right rudder. And if you want both wheel brakes together, leave the rudders neutral and just apply the brakes. On the stick itself, apart from the brakes, they have the important gun and cannon firing button. There's a safety switch underneath, which you move across to the right, and it'll be guns for the top button there and cannons for the bottom. The pilot looks through a huge piece of bulletproof glass which is in front of him. It's an incredibly thick piece of glass and it would stop bullets coming directly at the pilot. Above that, there's a rear view mirror which is on the outside of the canopy, which is slightly adjustable, but it's for looking to see any enemy on your tail. Something we don't see in peacetime.
But as the only fighter aircraft of the Second World War to fight in frontline service from the beginning through to the end in August 1945, there would have been plenty of times when the rear view mirror was essential. Overall, 19 marks of Spitfire were produced throughout World War II and beyond. This model of Spitfire was developed as a stopgap measure as a response to the appearance of the Focke-Wulf FW-190A. The Mark IX was a significant improvement on the Mark V. It had a top speed of 409 miles per hour or 355 knots at 28,000 feet, which was an increase of 40 miles per hour. And it could climb at 4,000 feet per minute due to its power and design.
The Spitfire has a beautifully shaped elliptical wing and it's very good for tight turns and combat. Standard wing, we've got ailerons outboard and 2-position flaps underneath which are fully retracted at the moment. Also in the wings we have 2 machine guns here and here, and you see they're covered up, and this would happen in wartime every sortie. 2 reasons for this were to keep the guns dry if they weren't fired, and also to let the armourers know if they had been fired, so they had to rearm them for the next sortie. The armourers would then rearm the guns and these patches would be replaced. Inboard of the machine guns we've got the cannon, which is a 20mm cannon firing a larger calibre round than the machine guns, which are 303.
Claims, Johnny?
Yes, I got a Messerschmitt 109 and a Dornier.
Oh, good show.
Lima ready.
Spitfire Alpha Lima, Graph 25, clear for takeoff.
Takeoff, Graph 25, Spitfire Alpha Lima.
really enjoy flying the Spitfire because it's an old aircraft. It's not many of them left flying in the world, and it's a real privilege to be able to do so.
The Spitfire was also joined by a number of other famous World War II aircraft, which entertained the crowd throughout the day.
Taxi across the grass there, that's one. Dakota 46, once the second P40 out your left-hand side has gone past you, you can backtrack and line up on the seal.
The second P40 line up, backtrack, and probably only need about 100 metres back distance.
This DC-3 is one of the many aircraft which make up the New Zealand Warbirds Association, which is an umbrella body dedicated to the restoration, preservation and operation of military aircraft in full flying condition. Also in attendance were the Roaring Forties display team, who are widely regarded as the flag bearers of New Zealand Warbirds. Flying ex-RNZAF Harvard trainers, this team is always a crowd pleaser. The Harvard began life in 1934 and was produced in several variants, with more than 15,000 eventually being built. The RNZAF operated 202 Harvards, which were delivered between 1941 and 1944. They were used in training, communication and forward air control roles. The last 19 airworthy aircraft were withdrawn from service in 1977 and were sold, which provided the start of the warbird scene in New Zealand. The Roaring Forties weren't the only radial engine powered display team at the Airshow. Originally designed as an aerobatic trainer for both the Soviet military and civilian sport pilots, the Yak-52 first flew in 1976 and has proven itself to be a versatile and enduring aircraft. Like most Soviet military aircraft, the Yak-52 was designed to operate in rugged environments with minimal maintenance. Since the early 1990s and the fall of the Soviet Union, many Yak-52s have been exported to the West. Several thousand now fly around the world, and they are still being produced in Romania today. Capable of inverted flight for as long as 2 minutes and stressed to +7 or -5 Gs, the Yak-52 aerobatic team has everything it needs to put on a great show.
Yes, I'm Brett Emily. I'm actually the leader of the Yak formation aerobatic team here in New Zealand. And with that we fly these unique aircraft, the Yak-52. They do tend to grow on these old things, you know, when you start them up they rattle and shake and they blow smoke everywhere and they give you a real atmosphere that you are flying an early generation aircraft, you know. But they're very, very nice to fly, very responsive, whether you're flying in a team or out doing solo aerobatics. They're really fitting the bill very, very well. The formation team is made up to 9 pilots. These pilots come from all different walks of life. You know, many have started off just as sport flying pilots that had no aerobatic experience or formation flying experience at all. So to take these guys from that level right through to proficient formation aerobatic team actually takes a considerable amount of time and about 300 hours of flying just to get them to the stage where they actually fly around a formation loop. The formation discipline required actually takes a lot of getting used to for these new pilots. They're used to looking out and just flying their own plane. When you're in a formation, you have to totally trust the leader that you're following, and you only fly reference lines from the nose of the aircraft out through the wingtip and across to the tailplane, to the elevator going up and down. So you actually fly a triangle, and that's all you see for the whole trip. And you have to disregard everything that's going on behind the aeroplane. As you're looping and rolling, you're seeing the ground move, the sky, other airplanes are over there flapping around a bit, and it's very, very distracting. So it takes a lot of getting to focus so that you can actually just fly proficiently. And essentially, when you look at the amount of sky you're dealing with, you're only flying in a box about 1/2 metre square. If you step forward and look at the lines will change on the aircraft, you think, oh gosh, I'm too far forward, so you back up a bit. Or you drop down a little bit, I'm too low, you pop up. And if you really analyse that, you're actually talking about a piece of sky this big that you're actually flying in. So you can imagine the very small control inputs required to stay there. I actually liken it to taking a fixed-wing pilot and teaching them to fly a helicopter. So I've had a career in helicopter flying and training. So once you take a fixed-wing pilot and put them in a helicopter, they over-control them, the same as the guys do in formation, until they settle right down to just the most minute movements to actually hold that perfect formation position. And we're really in a situation now where we've got a great bunch of guys that can fly and put on a great display. We have 4 or 5 of them based in Tauranga on the west coast. The rest are up here around Auckland and out on the east coast around Pawanui. So they are practicing as groups the display manoeuvres they're doing, and then we bring the whole team together. So essentially it's like 2 different elements. But we have some members that come from a very long way away. We've got, for example, Rick Grant, who has a ski plane, float plane business up in Alaska. So he travels all the way from Alaska down to New Zealand for the summer and flies with us through the team.
The group of us that are flying together in our red formation would be BJ, Doug and I. I'm from Pawanui. We do a lot of practice there together. We just get out there every evening at Pawanui. It's a beautiful place to practice, and it's a unique situation. And you can just land and walk in your house, and flying off the coast is really nice. Beautiful place.
And then on the other side, we've got his neighbour in Pawanui is Doug Batten. Doug's an airline pilot flying 777s for Air New Zealand. So Doug he was a keen sport flying pilot as well, and could fly aerobatics, so of course we moulded him into the team.
Hi, I'm Doug Batten. I own the Blue Yak 52 here, and in my spare time I fly float planes in Alaska for Rick Grant, you've just met, and in the summer in New Zealand, the Yak 52. The local people in Pawanui absolutely love the displays that we put on for them. It's an incredible coastline to fly up and down, so we never get tired of flying in that environment or that area. And yeah, there's no time constraints. We don't have to travel any distances to get into the aerobatics, so we're airborne straight up and into it. Whenever you've got 2 or more aeroplanes in the sky, it's so much more fun than flying solo or individual. And it's probably the closest thing you'll get to a team sport in aviation. So I just can't get enough of it. If I had more money, I'd do it full time.
So here we are today at the Tauranga City Air Show, which is what this is really all about. We've done all the practice, the guys are all coming to the show. It's all about 10 minutes of display time, hundreds of hours of practice, 10 minutes of display. The whole thing's choreographed and planned. We plan the whole thing, practice it, we walk it through on the ground a number of times so we know exactly where we're going. It's like a dance routine, if you like.
It's just a joy to fly.
Yak formation, clear display.
Clear display, yak formation. Yak formation, power up. Yak formation rolling. Up we go. Frame, go. Right now. Up we go. Up we go. Right on, please.
As the day rolled on, the sun kept shining and the quality of aircraft and pilots stayed as high as ever, including Airbus captain Dave Phillips in the de Havilland Tiger Moth, and local top-dressing legend Derek Williams soon afterwards in the Fletcher. With over 30,000 hours of flying under his belt, Derek Williams is a very well-respected pilot. After learning to fly in 1954, he achieved his commercial pilot's license in 1960 and has been flying ever since. He enjoys rugby, tennis, and anything to do with flying. But with the end of the day drawing close, there wasn't much flying left. But one thing was for sure, the inaugural Tauranga City Air Show was going to go out with a bang. First up was the big challenge that the crowd had been looking forward to all day, car versus plane. Or more precisely, an Audi V10 R8 supercar versus a Cessna A-37 Dragonfly jet.
Hi, I'm Tim Martin, the driving instructor for Audi New Zealand, so we do lots of driver training, and in this case, racing jets.
I'm Gavin Trethewey, and the aeroplane there is a Cessna A-37, called a Dragonfly.
We're driving an R8 V10 today, so that's the most grunty sports car Audi has in the range. Fantastic performance, 0 to 100 under 4 seconds.
This one was used by the South Vietnamese Air Force. They decided they needed an aeroplane for close support that could get into tight spots. They beefed it up, put much bigger engines in it, and you now carry quite an enormous load really. It carries more than its own weight and weaponry. Quite an aeroplane.
I think the most exciting thing about the performance of the Audi R8 V10 is the top speed of the car, so well over 300 kilometres an hour, so amazingly quick car. Obviously then you've got to stop the thing pretty quickly though, so really hard braking was in order down the far end.
How will they go against the Audi? Well, we'll kill him, no trouble at all. Might be fast, but this thing's got a lot more grunt. So yeah, the biggest challenge is just getting to the end of the runway and then getting the aeroplane back quickly. So we're supposed to do a kilometre up, about 3,500 feet, and I try and top out there and come straight back down again. And there's acceleration all the way, trying to turn the aeroplane around and get it up to about 400 knots as we come down the runway. I haven't done a race like this before against a supercar. We've had other sorts of races, but nothing like this one. So it was interesting to me just to see how we were going to compare. And in fact, we were really pretty close.
I think it was pretty much a dead heat. Gavin, who was flying the jet, he's not exactly sure either, but it's quite hard to tell in the car who won. From what everyone outside was saying, it was a really, really close finish.
With the great race over, there was just one thing left, the grand finale. Aircraft were scrambled and the airfield attack began. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to flying with you again soon at the 2012 Tauranga City Air Show.